Man, after that Transformers run, I don't even know what to play. I haven't got a new game in a while, and Warframe. I haven't played that since Eidolons came out, bruh. They couldn't have added anything that interesting.
Rejoice in the coming oblivion! No prisoners! Eat bolt gun!
Death to the impure!
Why aren't we killing it?
Oh, I guess I missed a lot, didn't I? Hey guys, it's M. Today we're going to be talking about something I thought I left in my past. Warframe. Now, I used to be a super heavy Warframe player for a good few years from middle school to high school, and I played it religiously. Even back in the day, I made a fan fiction about it. It's not as bad as it sounds, please trust me. So, sometime into high school, I kinda lost interest in it, and the grind just became a bit too real for me, so I stopped playing. Now, after coming back to it after 2 or 3 years, how do I feel about it? Well, if you didn't see all that shit in the intro, I think it's pretty good. They've added a lot since I left back in the Eidolon days. And a lot of it's pretty good. Even just for the base normal gameplay, I feel like the newer frames have just been really cool. I haven't felt any of them have been lazy or their abilities are getting stale, which I feel like would have happened with a lot of games like this by now. The story cutscenes, I know they were good before, but just... Enemies' design seem to be getting better and better as time goes on, and, you know, mainly for the infested, because before it was just leaper, half a leaper. But now with Demos, they got these crazy-ass designs, like these weird-ass centipedes and these weird flippy things, and then just a straight-up Left 4 Dead charger. It feels like their potential has finally been realized in the design department. The open worlds have gotten way better since the plains. The plains on release were kind of fucking barren. There wasn't really jack diddly to do in it, except fish, maybe attack a little outpost, a cave, except an annoying bounty mission. And the items that they added for now were just, they added Eidolon hunts, kit weapons, 10 emotes, with 10 emotes being the best addition, as the Eidolons were dummy confusing to fight the first time without really being told how to, and the kit weapons were just meh in the design department. Then Fortuna comes out and BAM! You have a skateboard and you're playing SSX Tricky all over again, grinding on shit, tricks included. More interesting landmark designs, more interesting enemy designs as a whole than on the plains, pet MOAs, and then Demos came out and added even more on top of that. Long story short, open worlds are pretty good now. Glitches are cool. They definitely stole the system straight out of Shadow of War, and they've even said as much, but it's cool to see a unique enemy type bringing their own weapons and abilities, let alone your experience fighting one will always be different than the people around you just because of the RNG in making them. Even if you played before, I feel like the 2 new Lich personalities they added made them a lot more likable, and they even kind of grew on me, even though there's some wrinkly skinned dickheads. To the point where I even spared one with a Brahma I didn't even sell into slavery for 100 plat. Yet. Railjacks are just fucking awesome. I literally don't know how else to explain it. If you've ever seen any space though, you're gonna want to stick around and play this because it's sick. You get to command your own crew and you just get to drive a huge ship. Or you can just go into enemy ships and destroy them from the inside. Or you can just take those over. I think it's literally the coolest update this game's gotten in years. And with a couple of buddies, you can just have a great time. And bro, I feel like whoever voiced the female Corpus Captain specifically did an excellent job. I literally feel like I'm in some Saturday morning cartoon going against the big bad villain of the week. Almost every new Warframe has a cutscene-centered quest to go on now, which is really cool, especially when you think about how many Warframes back in the day were just thrown into the game and you can just go, well, their abilities are cool. I don't really know anything about them. Look, they make the screen flash a few times. It's like they finally mixed the lore that a few people actually like reading and hyped up and put it into the real game. And I don't have to be this guy to actually understand what's happening. Now, I may have just been gushing about it for however many minutes, but do I think it's a perfect game now? No. It may have sounded like I've simply loved every single thing that they've done, but there's a lot of equally annoying stuff sprinkled in. Like when you spend an entire month trying to level up in a faction for the open world, and then they add 2 or 3 more factions with the same kind of quests, and for some reason, they still have this fuck-ass daily standing part, and I still don't understand why it exists. While I did dap them up for some of the newer Warframe cutscenes, getting some of the Warframes now is just torture is you have to do waves of things for like a 0.1% quarter fraction percent chance of getting a drop or a blueprint. Then you look at what you need to build the actual blueprint, and is that a slinky? And half of those weird items you have to grind for on a completely different loot table, which means you have to grind even more anyways. Like, why is it easier to get primes now than every Warframe post-Haro? Remember Stalker? Remember how it's been years since this mysterious and cool character slash villain has been relevant or even a threat? Like, for real, quest ends and then just... I know he still shows up randomly, but by the time you finish his quest, he's pretty much a joke. I know someone's about to type, what about the Acolytes? What about the Acolytes? Like, tell me one thing about Inkst other than it's Valkyrie with Stalker's head popped on. That's all the Acolytes are, with some edgy names like
Name, violence.
Like a 5-year-old is writing a fanfiction and coming up with these names. It's literally been forever since I stopped playing seriously, and I've sprinkled just a little bit of time here and there. But I do remember the sacrifice from about a year ago when the Lotus went missing. And we still haven't saved her yet. Like I said, I love Railjack and I love all the little updates we've been getting, but good lord, I don't even care about the story like that. But even for me, it's a bit ridiculous that this plot point hasn't hit its conclusion yet. I really hope all, if not at least a good chunk of the elements that they've added go into this final section of the story, because I just feel like that's the sensible way to justify leaving our space mom and going out to play on a snowboard or play Dead Space 4 in a corn on the cob machine. Like, seriously though. Function-wise, they're cool, but why did Necromechs look like that? We get all these excellent and brilliant Warframe designs from the design team, and then we get a literal fucking vegetable. But as always, the grind for things even other than Warframes is aggravating, with everything having such stupidly long arbitrary building times. Like when you grind for a Warframe, they hit you with that 3-day timer, or when you get a certain Affirma from a guy named Stalker, and then you see it cost 1 million credits in 3 days, and you're really sad about that, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. But then you see you can spend a little bit of plat to rush it, and it all just makes sense. D is a corporation at the end of the day, so it all comes down to life's greatest joy of all. Money. Why spend all this time when you can just buy a good chunk of the stuff I've just talked about and skip the heartache that most of us have to go through? Many of Warframe's detractors seem to think it's just straight up pay to win, but then they spend enough money and they go like, why isn't this shit working? And they've gone bankrupt because they don't really know what they're buying, and this game holds back enough where you can't just straight up buy everything off the rip. Let alone, I know enough people who've tried to pay to win, and I end up having more than them just because I've actually played the game. While I did go over a lot of this game's more annoying aspect, you know what spares it? This is a free game. I feel like a lot of us forget about that. You don't have to spend a single dollar on this game. I haven't spent more than 10 bucks on this game, and it's just because I wanted a cosmetic skin. All the cool shit I listed from the start is from a free experience. I didn't buy any of those things I listed as real good. Does that mean it covers up all the mistakes? No, but I mean, like, how am I gonna sit here and complain about a free game when we have robbers out here that get to release a barely functional game for $60 and then add microtransactions and then lube themselves up, look at my favorite franchise, and then just fuck them in the... But seriously, I know that's an extreme example, but many problems we have with other AAA games are the same as this one, but since there's such a low cost of admission, I feel like it deserves a pass. I'm not saying give me literal shit because it's free. I'm saying this game's evolved so much and got so many cool features, we usually compare it to other $60 games, to the point where I can't even think of the last time I've thought of comparing this to another free game. Even though bullying D is the funny thing to do, I don't think we need to be so overly harsh about everything that they do. Now, I do understand this is a game we've all been playing for a really long period of time and we expect more from it, but let's take a quick meditation break. Take a deep breath and ask the philosophical question. Were we ever perfectly happy with everything in Warframe? And unless you're a filthy liar, the answer is no. People have always been complaining about something or the other in this game, but I think that's really just because everybody has access to it. It's also the Warframe creators like to spice up stuff, and then the new people who don't really play the game like to jump onto that stuff, but they don't know what they're actually talking about, and then some of the older, just bitter players are like, yeah, that's true. Not that the complaints haven't helped the game from time to time, because I do remember hearing my beloved Railjack was a horrific mess on release, but this may sound bad, but if you're an old Warframe vet and you want to get back into playing the game, the newer players had to suffer for us for these newer mechanics, so a lot of the glitches and stuff for the newer content have been fixed as they suffered for us. I feel now If you felt the game was stale or needed some different kinds of content, this is the time you've been waiting for. They've added all the different kinds of content that you've been asking for. And now I feel like I could play for hours, and I have been playing for hours, and not really been getting bored of what I've been playing. I know a lot of people stopped around 2018, 2019, but please, give it one more try. I'm sure you'll enjoy something out of all the 8 million things that they've added. Now, some people may feel different, or may have come back and not felt as taken aback as I was. And as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll always gladly discuss with you on any of the videos that I make. With that, I've been M, and I think I'll see you guys next time.
For the slaughter!